Welcome to this short video series on the art and craft of telling the Christian story. A few months ago I found an old colleague who in retirement had become a toy maker. He's very good at it, got the eye for a good design. Most of his work's donated to Christmas charities. So a lot of kids who wouldn't get a present on Christmas Day end up with a special gift. It reminds me of a great preacher, Selwyn Dawson, who once opened his message with these words: "In the last 3 months, Christ has rung my doorbell 8 times. And also, once when Mother Teresa was out of India visiting America, she found herself in a TV studio. They were advertising special breakfast foods that had almost no calories. Her comment was along the lines that Christ was needed there." You could think of similar examples. The toy maker, the preacher and the saint were all adding to the Christian story. There's an art to doing this well. The toy maker can support his story with his craft, show his work. The preacher can support his sermon with choice phrases and sentences. In fact, Selwyn Dawson called that particular sermon Christ disguised. Just enough to draw you in. Mother Teresa's story might have been Christ required. There's more than a little magic in a story title. But here's a tip. The title doesn't often come first, but instead usually follows on from the hard work that the storyteller does first. I did say hard work. Telling the Christian story in a way that will communicate with others isn't easy. It requires effort. So let's roll up our sleeves and get to work. The most basic and probably the most neglected task of telling the Christian story well is to understand your audience. Be honest with yourself. Be explicit. Who are you communicating with? What's the age range in that group? How about various cultures, genders, socio-economic groups, special needs? One story or sermon simply won't communicate if it tries to reach all those diverse people, unless of course you're a Martin Luther King. But virtually all of us telling the Christian story today are not like him, not in his league. What we need to do is scale our expectations. Most of us can learn to do a smaller story well. How? First, understand the variety of needs. Why have they come to be your audience? Some will be seeking help. Some will be keen to learn. Others are there with you because of habit or expectation. And yet others will want to give and so on. And then a curious thing will happen. Your story will often begin to take on a more universal quality. I don't know why this works, but it does. I see it happening all the time in books, films, plays, poetry, prose and art, images, and so on. You start to find a really creative groove. So that's it for today. Know your audience. Work out who the story is intended for. That will help its telling immeasurably. Join me next week. You'll learn how important it is to know yourself as you add to the Christian story. If you're interested in learning more and finding resources for creative writing, have a look at the art and craft of preaching in the About section of this video. And thanks for watching.